So, salutations all. It is that special time of the year. It's upon us once again. I know you are as excited as I am. Curling championships. Oh, that's only exciting to other people. Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. The super sports, right? Right? What is it? Oh, American football. That's right. The Super Bowl. Let's get into this adventure. So, regardless of who you are rooting for, whether it is the young kid that is proving himself to be a future Hall of Famer, or the betrayer whose name we won't mention, even though he's done great things in the Northeast and decided to move to that crazy state and abandon us all and our hopes and dreams. And Cam Newton, it's just anyway. Today we have a plethora of things to make. So whether or not you're having a get together with all your friends while social distancing in your own backyard to save us all, or you're watching the game solo, or you paid that extra money to go sit at Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever the case may be, maybe you can make a little food, make your own stuff, and sneak it in so you don't have to pay the extra for their terrible stuff. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to make some salad dressing. We're going to make a nice salad with a little sauteed shrimp and some avocado. We're going to make some dips. So we're going to make a spinach dip today. We're going to pair it all together to make a delicious lunch, make some grilled cheese sandwiches. I've got guests today. Yes, I do have friends. I mean, a few. And we're also going to make some jalapeno poppers. I do mine a little bit different. This is not your average, okay? We don't do average on this channel. We don't do average, all right? So let's get into the salad dressing aspect. Let's see what you're going to need. For the salad aspect today, we're going to make an emulsion, which is a fancy term for the dressings that you eat. What is an emulsion? Well, think of it as people. You've got two sets of people that don't really click. Somehow, you've got to get them to come together. How do you do that? We need an emulsifier. And an emulsifier is like Big Mama's get together. You don't have to come, but there's consequences if you don't. Now, the get together gives you that opportunity to get those two cliques of people together on the same page. And when it works out, it is a celebration, a deliciousness, an evolution up to your taste buds. Sometimes it goes south and people got to go their separate ways, and we call that a break. All right? So what we're going to do today is make a balsamic vinaigrette. What do you need for that? Well, balsamic vinegar, right? It's some form of oil and an emulsifier. So we're going to start off with our oils. I'm going to show you what we've got here. You can get any kind of oil. I know you guys know I'm terrible at the lighting thing. This is actually a macadamia nut oil that I have here. And I've got some plain Jane olive oil, okay? You do not have to get a super expensive olive oil. Don't get it twisted. These companies lie to you. If you really get into what's in their olive oils, you'll be sorely disappointed. So we've got oils. We're going to use the olive oil today for this dressing. But you can really use anything. You can use avocado oil. You can use pine nut oil. You just want some sort of fat for the aspects of the dressing. All right. And I've got a plethora of balsamics here. I just wanted to show you that there's so many varieties out there, so you can do different flavors depending on what it is that you're wanting to do with this dressing. There's a company in Grapevine. Actually, they're all over. There's some in the stockyards as well. The Olive Oil Trading Company. Okay. They have different flavors of olive oils. They've got different flavors of vinegar as well. This particular one is a strawberry balsamic vinaigrette. I've also got one is a black currant. And I have a third that is a red apple that is absolutely delicious that comes from that place there. We have another company that I like as well, Pasta Amore. Can we get that? Can we get that? Pasta Amore. They're based out of Dallas. Really got to work on this lighting thing. This one is a white pear, and this one is a dark chocolate. The dark chocolate on some vanilla ice cream. Touch yourself. All right, so we've got a classic balsamic there, right? And then I've got a balsamic reduction. And this one's got a little Merlot in it. Now, the reduction is a glaze. This is what you finish with. So you've got a really nice chicken that you've grilled. You hit it with that glaze. It's been cooked down. Super sexy. You're also going to want a little bit of brown sugar, which is optional if you want to have a little bit sweeter. We won't really need a lot of it because we're going to do a strawberry balsamic today. We're going to need a little bit of salt and some pepper. Now, The ratio to your vinaigrettes, doesn't matter what kind of vinaigrette that you are making, it's 3 to 1, okay? 3 to 1. So you're gonna take 1 part balsamic or whatever vinegar that you're using, and then 3 parts oil. The magic is getting them to come together and stay together, and there are several tricks in doing that. Now you can get it popping old school with a good sized bowl and a whisk and some of this action right there until it meets and gathers and all that good stuff. You can be fancy and use technology if you've got an immersion blender. Be careful with these when you're making dressings because the high powered ones warm up and can cause your dressing, depending on what you're making, to separate. Or you can do it the Facebook life hack way. And like me, don't throw away anything. You just use a jar with a lid and then you just do as Mr. Belafonte said and shake, Sonora. Shake it. All right. So let's get into this dressing. All right, y'all. So for this particular recipe, we are going to do a 1/4 cup of the balsamic. Like I said, I'm using the strawberry balsamic vinegar for this particular one. I think it's going to pair very, very nicely with the salad, and we're going to make a shrimp salad with some mixed greens. All right. So we got a 1/4 cup of our vinegar going into the container there. Then we do 3/4 cup, because remember it's 3 to 1. So we're going to do 3/4 cup of our oil, and I'm using the olive oil for this. Like I said, you don't have to use olive oil. You can really use any oil at all. Okay, got that in there. Now, if you're using just a straight up balsamic, I would suggest possibly doing 2 teaspoons of the brown sugar. But again, it's really about what you prefer. So you start with a teaspoon and taste it and then go from there. You can always add to it. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon just to kick up the sweetness. The reason because I seasoned the shrimp, a little bit of smoked paprika, some salt, some pepper, a little bit of cumin. It's going to be paired with some red onion, and there's going to be some avocado. So I really want to bring that sweetness through to fight with everything else. So I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the balsamic, and I'm going to do a 1/2 tablespoon of garlic. I told y'all before, you can't escape the garlic. You might as well just stop fighting it. You're going to get it. So we're going to do a 1/2 tablespoon of garlic. All right. Once that is all in there, we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. So always start small. You can always add, but you can't take away, right? So we always start small, and then we taste our food, and we move forward from that point. So we're getting the pepper in there. Now, the emulsifying factor for this. A lot of the times we'll use a little Dijon mustard. Dijon is, I don't know why it works, it just does. A little Dijon mustard, and once you get it all blended together, it helps the mixture stay together longer. Eventually it'll separate. Once the dressing is sat for a while, it's going to separate. No big deal. If it separates, you just shake it like a Polaroid, and it'll come right back together. So no biggie. Same thing when you're doing a cream-based dressing, or something like a mayonnaise base or Caesar or anything like that. That of course uses an egg as an emulsifier. So anyway, we got it in there, right? That's everything, and we just shake it, right? And it's literally it's that fast. It's that easy. Now we've got a strawberry balsamic vinegar. All right. Now, depending on your taste buds, maybe you don't like the amount of vinegar that's there. You can always add a little more oil, right? Or if it's too oily, you can add a little more vinegar. So you get that balance of bite and smoothness that you're looking for. So now that we're done with that, we're going to set this bad boy aside. We're going to get into our dips. We're going to put the salad together at the end. It shouldn't take very long at all. But let's get into our dips. All right, so next up on the itinerary is the spinach dip. So for this, of course, you're going to need a little cream cheese, right? Classic. I've got some yellow onion here. I've got a little bit of heavy cream. Our favorite ingredient, garlic. I've got spinach. Now I've got some baby spinach, fresh, and I've got some frozen. The frozen I've had, I want to get rid of it. If you're going to use fresh spinach, remember that it reduces down to nothing. So get more than you think you need, so that way your dip is nice and hearty. All right, now the secret ingredient for this. I like to put water chestnuts in mine, chopped up. I throw them in at the very end. It adds some texture, some crunch to it. It's just nice. You don't have to do it. It's whatever. Be difficult. I also like to add a little Parmesan cheese to mine as well, so you'll need a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So let's make it happen. So we've got our trusted skillet going. It's nice and warm. We're going to start it off kind of low as we're going to build up the heat. We don't want to burn and scorch everything going into our pan. I've got a half of my yellow onion here, and I'm going to dice these dice it pretty small. All right. I'm going to use a little bit of butter. No, I know I didn't mention the butter before. It's because you really don't have to use it. You can hit your pan with a little bit of olive oil, a little vegetable oil, okay? This is just to help the onions reach the promised land. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to add extra flavor to your food. I know some of you don't season, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. It's okay. All right. So as that is melting away, we're going to add our onions in. Now remember we talked before about sweating versus caramelization, right? Caramelization is where we allow the natural sugars to burn, and sweating is where we basically allow the vegetables to steam. So I'm going to turn this up just a hair because we got our butter melting. Make sure we get those onions coated nicely. Now, of course, your ingredients are going to change a little bit. The measurements are going to change depending on your personal flavor and, of course, how much you are trying to make. So I use just under a half of yellow onion and a sliver of butter to get it started. And we're going to let these cook until they become really nice and translucent or begin to become translucent. Not really trying to put any color on these. We're not really trying to caramelize them. So we're going to make sure we kind of keep it moving. I don't know. I've never tried it. Maybe you guys could even make this in a crock pot. I guess if you cut the onions down small enough, you can throw everything else in a crock pot and let it go. Let it go. All right. Onions are about halfway to where we want them. So while we are letting them do their thing, we're going to go in with a little bit of garlic. I'm going to use a teaspoon of garlic, a heaping teaspoon of garlic. Told y'all, man, can't escape it. It's good and good for you. Good and good for you. Plus, you know, vampires and stuff, so can never be too safe. Okay. Love that smell. Love it. Now, letting that go, I'm going to turn it down just a hair. We're going to go in with our cream cheese. Now, for the amount that I am making, I'm only going to use this first little nub of a block and this whole block there. So, whatever that amounts to. I'm going to just use that much. I'm not feeding that many people. I don't really need that much. Now, if you cut the cream cheese down smaller, obviously, it won't take as long to melt down and dissolve, do its thing. You won't have to stand here and stir so long. So let's get this cut down just a bit and get it added. Now for this, you know, I turn the heat down as I'm getting the cheese into there, so I don't want it to start to sit on the bottom and burn on me while I'm cutting up his friends. Boom. All right. And then I'm going to take a little bit of heavy cream. And you can use milk, of course, too. Even a little veggie stock if you don't want to go that route. The extra dairy. We're going to go in here with a little heavy cream if I can get it open. Okay. Get in there, Anime. All right, then I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with my salt and pepper. but not Spinderella. That's about a half a teaspoon of salt there, probably less. A pinch of pepper. And you mash and stir. Mash and stir. Okay. Now, back in the day, I'm going to give away some trade secrets. I hope I'm not sued later. I worked for a grocery store chain that makes and sells their own spinach and artichoke dips and all that good stuff. They cheat and they use the Knorr's soup seasoning to add all their flavor. Melissa knows the store I'm talking about, don't you, Melissa? All right. It is coming together nicely. We just want to get those big chunks of cream cheese broken down. I know y'all can barely see that. Better? Is that better? White balance. We're going to add some color because we know everything gets a little bit better with color, doesn't it? All right. Once we get the major chunks of the cream cheese out, we'll go on with our spinach. So I'm going to go in with my fresh spinach first. Doesn't really matter what you choose. All right. Get the spinach mixed into that cheesy sauce there. Let it begin to wilt. This is where you want to be controlling your heat so that you do not burn your cheese sauce there while you're waiting on the spinach. Now, this is the benefit of also using the already cooked spinach. You don't have to worry about waiting for the wilt. Go right on in there with it. So we're going to go ahead and add ours because that extra moisture will help our fresh spinach get where it's got to go. All right, y'all, so while this is going, once we get it down where we want it, once we get all this fresh spinach wilted down and it's really, really nice, then we finish it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And then we throw in our water chestnuts, which I just roughly chop up. Just a very rough chop. Like I said, for me, it's just a texture thing. I just like it. It adds a nice little crunch to our mixture. Okay, coming right along. All right, enter Parmesan. Boom, boom. Now, this is one of those beautiful things. You can serve it hot, you can chill it, you can serve it cold. It's very versatile. It should be very delicious. You can always add your artichokes in there, or some nice carrots, a little shredded carrot. I mean, that's it, baby. All right, let's get our water chestnuts in there. The water chestnuts you will likely find near the Asian food in your local grocer. Kill the heat, and our dip is done. Let's move on to the jalapenos. All right, moving on to our jalapenos. So I've got about 1.5 pounds of jalapenos here. All right, I'm gonna save you guys a little time in your day on this video. I don't want it to be too long. So what are you gonna need for this? So I like to use that delicious Boursin cheese that we talked about in the past. Goes well with everything. Prove me wrong. I've got the goat cheese here, huge fan of the goat cheese. I've got a nice cheddar cheese here, a nice sharp cheddar, or even a smoked cheddar. Smoked cheddar really makes it pop. That smokiness, it just adds something to it. Really, really delicious. No garlic, we're gonna save you guys this time. All right, and then we've got our filler. This is how you make it all stretch. All right, this is your blank canvas. The cream cheese is pretty much a blank canvas. All right, so I also put a little bit of honey in mine, but I also use the honey as a dipping agent for the peppers, okay? The honey will help if the peppers are extremely hot or you have something that's really sensitive. Dip it in a little bit of honey, and that helps to knock down, helps you deal with it, you big sissy. All right, and I also have some bacon cooked off here, some deliciously crispy bacon. I don't like when you wrap the peppers. That's just a personal thing. I feel like when you wrap the peppers and you cook them that way, the bacon does not get crispy. I'm a crispy bacon type of guy. You know, if you like yours raw, do you. So I always cook mine first, and then I put it on top. So I'm going to use a food processor. I don't want to really work that hard to get all my cheeses blended together, smoothed out. I actually throw the cheddar cheese in at the very end, so it's not completely blended in. I don't know. It's just a texture thing. All right. If you've got small kids, put them to work. You know, throw all the cheese in the bowl, let them get in there and just mash it all, and then send them to bed. Okay. What I also like to do after the jalapenos have been deveined and deseeded is I like to hit them with a little bit of oil, throw them on the grill for just a hot second or so, just to cook them a little bit so they're not completely crunchy and crispy when they come out of the oven. Once I get my cheese filling in, I put them in the oven at 400 degrees just to heat them through, just to get that cheese in the inside to nice and hot. When they come out, I throw my bacon on top of it, let them cool a little bit so you don't burn yourself. And then, like I said, serve that with honey. The honey that I'm using, actually, it's a local honey. It's right out of Burleson, Texas. Right there, little clover honey. All right. Help out your local peoples wherever you can. You're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this mix as well. So again, like I said, to save you guys the time, I'm going to go ahead and throw these bad boys together. Then we're going to cook our shrimp, get our salad together, and enjoy a meal.